Okay. All right. That was fucking retarded. Welcome to the Broski Doodles podcast. It's your boy Kiko Cervantes. DJ BJ is right here with me. And today we got a movie review with the crew. And I love these ones. You know, whenever we review these movies, it's fucking exciting. For people that maybe you're new to this, even though, I call it a review, but it is like an analysis, right? Like a synopsis. So it's definitely spoiler alert. If you haven't seen this movie, which we're gonna review today, called The Whale, which you probably saw in the title. If you clicked on it, you already saw the title. You saw the thumbnail of the video, so you know what the movie is. Don't go forward unless you don't give a fuck about watching the movie and you just wanna hear us talk shit. But we're gonna be reviewing The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser, who people have been waiting to see for a long time. And it's produced by this independent film company, E41, which I actually appreciate a lot. They produced this movie that we reviewed in the past, Everywhere, All at Once.
Didn't they also do X?
Oh, I think they did X. Yeah, that's true. And we reviewed as well. Whenever
I see that number A24, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to expect. They usually don't disappoint, but it's a crazy ride to get to the end.
But it's never a shit movie.
It's never bad.
Even if you don't like it, it's because it didn't hit you. But they try to hit it. You feel me? It's not like one of these movies which this weekend I saw a bunch of movies with my girlfriend. We just stayed the whole weekend watching movies. I saw some horrible like I don't even know how the fuck they're making these movies these days. But anyways, The Whale, Brendan Fraser. Is it me? I don't know. This might say something about how I treat my health and how my mental health too is at the stage. I got out of the movie theater. I went home and I ordered 2 pepperoni pizzas. And I felt like there was something wrong with me.
I got out of the movie thinking that I'm never gonna eat pizza again. So there's definitely a dissociation between how that movie hit us, each of us, in such a different way, but it still hit, somewhere.
No, it still hit me the same way that it hit you. But then after a little bit, I got hungry and then I ordered and I'm like, wow, I'm falling for what this guy. But The Whale. So this movie, man, is a weird one because I wanted to like it more. I wanted to like the movie more. When I do these reviews, I notice that I always start with a direct summary of what I think, and then we go into depth into what that means. But it's just hard for me to talk about something without telling you straight up what I thought. And I just think that the movie could have been more. I appreciated Brendan Fraser's acting. It was fucking amazing. What he did with that character, it was insane. Because he put out a vulnerability that we all feel, and he put it so vividly and so and so brave of him to put himself in such a disgusting way. But I feel like the story, at least for me, it didn't hit as hard. And we're gonna talk about it. I always love doing these reviews with you because you always have a different perspective of the thing, and maybe I didn't see it. But give me your quick overview.
So just to start, most of the time when we do these reviews, I do them on my own. I'll watch the movie on my own. This time I decided to invite my dad to go watch the movie with me. Not knowing, because I don't know what the movie's about. I'm like, well, he's gonna watch the movie. I have to watch it in the theater. I can't watch it on any of the streaming services that are provided because it's only in theaters. So I'm like, well, I have to go. Might as well go with somebody, I would have rather have gone alone. But it is very cathartic. The movie overall, it does give you a good sense of what it's like for somebody who's struggling with their weight, and at the same time struggling with a mental health issue, and at the same time struggling with family issues. It hits a lot of different little windows, different little criteria that would otherwise go unnoticed if it was just a he's very heavy guy, and he's trying to redeem himself, trying to become not heavy anymore. You know, they didn't go that route. They went a different route with it, and that was like wow, like it impacted a lot more in that aspect because the guy he felt like he was beyond saving, you know.
It's crazy that you went to see this with your dad because I just find that whenever
Bro.
if you're gonna go watch movies that are to review with the Broski Doodles, you have to watch them alone. I mean, I have the luxury of watching them with my girlfriend, and she kind of just rides along. But if I had to take someone else, I'm like, bro, let me just go do this alone because these movies aren't really like.
They might not be good. They might.
It reminds me of salvia, this crazy psychedelic drug that used to be legal in Florida until a kid jumped from like a fucking apartment and killed himself.
Oh shit.
It's not a recreational experience. And watching these movies a lot of times are not recreational experiences, but they bring something out of you. And what you said there is crazy because it's not just a weight struggle, which people know about, you've heard of these, but it also depicts how that is tied to just life struggles where you kind of go to food to try to feel good because everything else feels bad and everything else is fucked. And food is like a luxury we have where you can feel endorphins. It's a drug. I mean, it's a fucking drug. It's like
Yeah.
it's
At
heroin.
that point, yeah.
And you see it in the guy, right? I mean, the first scene, which is weird, like some church kid just opens a fucking door, and then they catch Brendan Fraser's character like jerking off to like some like hardcore gay porn, right?
But once again, remember I'm watching this with my dad.
Yeah, like, and that being the first
like,
scene.
yo, like never like if he would have come along for any other movie, it would have been okay. But this movie just so to happen to have this scene in it.
Like if I would have put this movie with my dad would have hated it. And I think
No.
my dad and your dad
He didn't like it. He didn't
are
like
more
it either.
similar than like what you and me are, right?
He did not like it. He
So
did not
they
like
would
it.
be like, "What the fuck is this?" And you know, we look at movies through a different lens because we are professional critiquers, reviewers, right? And we have this like profound knowledge about cinema, in throughout its history. So we're able to like even look at these movies and we're like, okay, we depict this stuff. But I can see how like a regular person, it was a little bit of a drag. The movie was a little bit of a drag. It was 2 hours long, but I don't mean just the length. It's just like I just didn't feel like he got to a more powerful point. I didn't identify with his daughter. I felt like she was just like a little bitch. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Am I not seeing something in the movie that was deeper that I didn't see?
The movie, honestly, it was 2 hours long, but it felt like three. Like it felt like three because a lot of it didn't feel like it wasn't engaging enough because you were literally just like a fly on the wall, just experiencing this man's life. And it was mostly mundane day-to-day things. But just him being the way he is and that whole struggle. It's like
All right, let's get to the nitty gritty. So what the movie does very well is depicting this struggle. And you can see it in him. Like as soon as the movie starts, this guy has the blood pressure to the roof.
dude,
Which
234 over 198. I've never seen that.
which
I've never
when
heard of that.
when I saw it, I mean, for the people that watch this, right? Me and DJ BJ, we've been trying to lose weight. Sometimes we do a little better than others, and we have our blood pressure maybe a little higher than you
Than
should,
normal,
right? And when I saw those numbers on the movie, I'm like, oh no, I'm like, it gave me a wrong feeling.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. Like this, how is this guy not dead, right?
I still got another 100 to go.
And then the guy, even with that, he just keeps eating. And this is important to note because this is exactly what that struggle is like. It's not like oh, I'm gonna die, so I'm not gonna do this anymore. No, no, it's like you know it's killing you, but you continue to do it, right? That's why it's a fucking drug. And you see it in the movie
Fuck.
how he completely gives up and he's like, I just can't do it anymore. I'm not gonna
I
fix this. And I'm just gonna die eventually from a heart attack, which is what I think happened at the end, right?
well, look, I at this stage, the way that he was conducting himself, it didn't feel like yeah, he was using it as a drug to feel something or to feel good, but it almost felt like he wanted to die. Like it almost felt like he felt that his life didn't really have meaning or purpose anymore because of what happened to him. Because I don't think because the eating wasn't the issue that started all this. Like he didn't just start eating one day and got to that weight. He had to experience a certain level of trauma to then to try to fill the void of the trauma with the eating, and then that just escalated to the point where he was at now. Which was
Right, but he still continued to do something knowing that what it was killing him. Okay, so I guess what you're saying is it's not that he was actually like it's not like he had a struggle with food per se. Like
oh
he
no,
just keep
the struggle was real. The struggle was real. Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Like there was he couldn't decide to do right. That he was making the wrong. Like even he said it, he's like I want to feel like I at least did one when I made one right decision.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was his life was just like a compounding uh, effects of him consistently making the wrong decision.
yeah.
Uh,
I guess.
and
I mean,
and he saw like I think he just saw that like I mean he already got to this point with what he had. He the one right thing that he wanted to do was to help his daughter.
all right. Okay, so that's the main plot of the whole thing. Like he wants to
Right.
help his daughter, right? And he wants to do it before he dies, whatever. Okay. And
Sure.
he has this thing where like he feels that she's good because she wrote some like summary about Moby Dick's book where he feels that she was worrying about the writer's feelings and that meant that she was a good person even though she acts like a piece of shit. I mean, that's what I depicted towards the end,
Right.
right?
Right. It wasn't towards the it wasn't until the end that you realized that
Yeah.
what she had written.
But to me, it's almost like stupid. Like, okay, so your whole point of doing this is to raise a little bit over 100 grand, give it to your daughter, and then you die. But then it's like, or you could stop eating. You will die later in life. You can make more money, help her more, but also help yourself with the money because you need the money to go to the doctors and shit. And then you spend more time with your daughter and get to meet her. Like, but I guess that wouldn't have made it so dramatic. And maybe I'm getting picky with the thing. But to me,
I,
it almost feels like the conflict was too simple. Like,
the issue then comes that with the fact that he he had been living his life in the wrong, right? It's some would say morally because of the fact that he became a homosexual. Some would say physically because he started eating in that manner because of the loss of his partner, and they had gotten to the point where the damage that he had done was basically irreversible, right?
oh, you mean
And
to his body because of his heart
right,
condition?
yeah, because of his heart condition and whatever. It wasn't up until that point that he felt guilt as a result of having done what he did, made the wrong decisions, abandoning his family, doing all of the things that he did, and the guilt had caught up to him in that manner. How long had he been saving for? And if the intention was to save it for his daughter the whole time, maybe since the beginning, since they separated, right? So ever since then, he's been feeling guilty, and then that could be another source of trauma for him. The fact that he had to abandon his family, not by choice, because he wanted to see her, but because his wife didn't want to see him,
Right.
like anywhere near his daughter.
Which is also understandable. I mean, not that. I mean, in today's age, obviously, like being gay is cool. I mean, in the Broski Doodles we're very cool with the gay community. People know me. We're in the
That,
community, have partnerships and shit.
yeah, we know
So
all the alphabets.
we know all the alphabet. But you could see how in the woman's eye, it's like my man left me for another guy. The whole town knows this. I look like a retard. Fuck you. Like
Yeah.
you see both sides.
Yeah. But then that also is kind of selfish of the mom to not allow
It
her
is.
to.
It is. However, I'll be honest with you.
But understood. But understood.
Understood. I think she was the character that I liked the most because she was a character that I felt was the realist. Because in life there are no villains and heroes. People are 50 Shades of Grey, right? So like you have shitty sides of you and then you have really good sides of you. And on the mom, you wanted to think, oh, she's a fucking bitch, right? Before you meet her. You're like, she's a fucking bitch. She didn't want this guy to see his daughter just because he's gay. Like, what a fucking whore, right? Like, boomer. And then you meet her because she goes to the house and they have like a night together. And even though she's not that friendly, you could tell she means well. And you could tell that she was hurt by the situation, which is like, because there is an extra oomph of being left. Like if you're a girl and a woman and a man leaves you for another man, I do feel like it's a double oomph.
Yeah.
Even though it shouldn't be. But that's society gives it that extra bump because it's almost like, not only am I leaving you for another person, I'm just changing the gender altogether.
Like you made me switch, basically. Like that's the whole.
Right,
That's like in their mind.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is just so you could tell what she means as well. I mean, we could assume that he was just gay all the time, right? But he just expressed it in his later years.
Later in life, right?
One, I guess, and again, I mean, we always want to be as harsh as any movie we review, regardless of who it is. But I do have the producers A24 a little bit in my heart because I know they try hard as fuck. And if you look at the place, the setting, it's just one apartment the whole time.
Yeah, it never changes. Basically, like
not even an apartment. Like it's just one room.
Well, you get the bathroom, you get the Alan's room, you get the hall.
That's true. Okay, because it's one apartment. Okay.
Yeah.
And you could see the similarities with that movie X that we reviewed. It was all in one house. So you could tell, I mean, these are things, I'm not saying was done specifically to save money, but these are things that allow you to save money in a movie production.
And still give it the cinematography.
And still give it the cinematography. I mean, most people won't notice about this setting being the same, but we notice because we worked in the cinematography field for so many years and such.
Well, one thing that I did notice about the setting, if you look at the scenes where they're looking from the outside in, right? Where like his friend Liz is at the window smoking a cigarette, or when he goes to put his hand out to feed the little bird, his hand looks massive in comparison to the window. And when the camera zooms out, the house has the texture of like one of those like boats or like docks, like in that same kind of setting where it looked like he was almost like on a ship or on a dock. That the house gave the appearance, or and it was always raining, always. So I noticed that because of the whole allusion to the
Moby
Ahab
Dick.
story. Yeah.
There was this scene where the pizza guy, Dan, I think his name is. He wants to get, like, he would always bring the pizza, leave it outside, and then the guy would leave the money in the mailbox, whatever. And then one time the guy sort of stays and waits until, the guy comes out. And he sees them, they do eye contact, and he kind of like notices. And you could tell like what they're both thinking, right? The kid is thinking like, oh, fuck, you didn't want me to see you because this is how you look. And then he, on the other side, he looks at him. I remember when I used to deliver pizzas, right? There used to be this residency, like these residencies where like older people live, but not like one where they take care of you. It's just like a neighborhood with a bunch of little apartments that are like cheaper.
like a community,
Yeah,
like a 50, like a
50
55
and
and
over.
up.
Yeah, 55 and over community, right? So, and I would, deliver pizzas, and they would be some of the clients, and there would be like one person that I would go, and it was almost like a similar situation where like I would open the door when I would go in, it would smell like this smell that I still smell to this day, which is like I think it's like piss that's enclosed that hasn't been cleaned. It's like ammonia,
Uh
you
huh.
know. And there was like this older lady, fat too, and she would like be nice to me, and I would sort of be like super nice. And for some reason, when I saw that scene in the movie, it brought me back to that memory, which wasn't like a special memory that was in my brain for any reason. Like
Uh huh.
it could have been forgotten, but for some reason it came back, and it was like, fuck, man, like the peculiar ways in how different lives connect, and you know how I mean, I guess this is like it's obvious, but yeah, like different people are going through different things, and then they connect. I don't know. It's just fucked. Like I'm like this movie. I guess part of why I didn't like it is just because it just shows you what life is, and life is fucked.
Yeah.
And like it's
Like
our
not only is life fucked, but it only takes one bad day for it to get fucked to that level. You know.
well, I mean, it took him many.
I mean, it took him, years to get to that stage, but it took one day for it to set the course for him to
Right
ultimately end up
to
that
make a
way.
decision. Yeah, yeah, like the suffering that he went through. The other thing that I think may push back on this, if you think like, I don't know if it was the fact that it was a short time because it is a movie, and there were so many personalities that weren't really developed that I didn't get to feel too attached to the characters for some reason. I just felt like I liked the movie. I think it was worthwhile. I think Brendan Fraser acting was great, but I almost feel like that whole thing of him acting like a fat person that just can't contain, and depicting how those moments are where you, because I've been there, right, where you feel like, oh, I shouldn't do this, but then you're like, fuck it, you do it, and then you have this devil inside you, and like it depicts that so well. But I almost feel like part of it was wasted because the story didn't hit harder.
Even though it was a movie, it felt like this could have been like a series almost, because it was like so many different lives, so many different people, characters that were involved in this, like to at one point in time it's just the girl and the kid talking to each other, so talking about his life and having nothing to do with the whole struggle of what's going on. That could have been its own, like, a
Yeah,
story arc, you know.
I totally agree. I just saw the first 3 episodes of The Last of Us, the new HBO series that everybody's talking
Bro,
about,
that's another. I only seen the first one.
and and yeah, you could see how like in The Last of Us, they're gonna go very deep into characters' lives and why things happen and why they feel this way, and they go back into their life. And I'll be honest, like I'm not too much of a fan of this because I think series sometimes just go too deep, and it's like, okay, let's get to the story. But
uh
that's just me how I. But
but
in this movie, you kind of almost felt like, yeah, this could have been a series because the church kid, you kind of don't give a fuck about him. You're like, yo, get the fuck out of here because you don't know, you don't
because
know
you
his
know,
deal.
yeah,
And
exactly.
then you kind of get to like him towards the end when you find out like, oh, his parents like found out he was doing weed. I mean, not because we're fond of the weeds or anything. And then
Or because it's relatable.
right, and then the daughter goes and tells on the dad. So then the kid gets brought back home, and that saves his life. But in my mind, there's no way she would have done that thinking that it was gonna turn out well. Like to me, she did that ill-hearted,
Maliciously.
right? Because the kid says like, "Oh, she saved me. She's such a good person." And Brendan Fraser believes it too, like, oh, she's such a good person. Like she went and said and told it to her parents that they will bring him back, and it's like, no, she told them like, hey, fuck you, I'm gonna tell your parents. I don't know, maybe.
I felt like she just wanted to know the truth, and in knowing and saying the truth, only the truth shall set you free. I don't think she was against, like, her dad leaving her for somebody else. It was just the fact that he abandoned her. You know, I don't think that she was against him doing what he did, it just she cared more about the truth being said, because her life was full of bullshit, and she just wanted the truth. And in doing so, it kind of saved them, the kid.
Yeah.
And I don't feel at first it is displayed that way, but if you notice, if she really did feel ill-hearted or ill intent, she wouldn't have come back in the end. I don't think she would have came back at all.
No, no, I'm not saying that she's a bad person because of that, but I just thought that that wasn't enough of a reason to think, oh, she's a good person. It's like, no, I think she almost did that to fuck with the kid. But that doesn't mean that she's a bad person in general. I guess I just think that the premises that the movie is supposed to be based on aren't as strong. Like the premises are that little poem that she wrote when she was fucking 8 proves that she's a good person, and this guy is using that little poem to teach these students about writing and shit. Like to me, that was a little far fetched and didn't feel like strong enough.
That wasn't 8. That was 8th grade.
8th grade.
Uh huh.
Okay. Well, still.
Yeah, but still.
I mean, at the end of the day, when we review these movies, we're gonna go into like the little details and like fuck it up, right? Like even like we watch movies that we've loved, and we're still gonna like Gladiator. I'm pretty sure that's my favorite movie, and we reviewed that, right? We reviewed Gladiator.
Right. Yeah, we did.
I'm pretty sure we reviewed Gladiator, and I'm pretty sure if you go back to that episode, there's like nitpicking on little shit, right? Because that's what we do. We want to find all the little details. That doesn't mean that we don't like it. It doesn't mean that we're talking shit about it. It just means that we're going to go and look at all the details. And even sometimes with those flaws, movies still ride hard.
Right. Brendan Fraser got nominated, and I think he won for Best Actor, right?
For that movie.
For that film. Best Supporting Actor has to go to that fucking walker that he had. Did not break the whole time that he was on that shit, bro. Like, dude, that shit was strong as fuck. Yo, dude,
yeah. I was waiting for he was big.
I was waiting for that. I felt like there were scenes where it was him, right? And then I felt like there was other scenes where they actually got a person of that size to walk, just to walk in that, like do the whole routine.
Because it felt so real.
No, like it seemed like, because like I would feel like, I mean, I noticed that the color on the legs would change in certain scenes, and it obviously mostly when his back is turned, when it's turned around.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure, or I'm not sure how they played off the whole being fat thing. Like if it's a suit, I mean, he obviously gained weight for it, but not.
But
I mean,
no.
I mean, he had to have either and I don't think it was CGI. Could you CGI that shit like that today?
Not without noticing. I think.
Can you chat GPT that shit right quick?
Yeah, real quick. No. That's too much. No. For sure, prosthetics. For sure.
Yeah, I think it was prosthetics. To me, it felt so real. Like it felt like the struggle, the realness.
Could it be deep fake?
That's chat GPT, right?
I think so, right? Where they put the face on the person's body. Yeah.
Yeah. There was there's some controversy about some Twitch kid who got caught in a stream with a tab open of CGI porn, or what's it called? Like what you just said it.
Oh, the deep fake.
Deep fake, yeah. But I don't know what was the controversy. I don't know if it's because he got like another famous Twitch girl's face on some like porn.
Yeah. I think I heard about that.
Everybody's freaking out, and it's like a new thing, right? Because I guess at the beginning this is not even about the movie, but at the beginning the guy was like, I was like, okay, what's the problem with this? Is the person like an underage? I don't think she's underage. I was like, what's the problem? I'm like, oh, right, because like she wouldn't want to be in a porn and people watching her because she's not a porn artist. Like,
yeah, and now they're saying that she's in porn or whatever, but it's not her. It's a fake.
That's crazy. Yeah, I remember like back in the day, like maybe 10 years ago, they talked about some like, oh, there's gonna be now like faces being put on porn, and like politicians, they're gonna be videos of them doing sex, and they're not gonna be able to like say it's not them. But back then it was still like shitty. But apparently now it's like for real skis.
I'm not saying you one.
All right.
and
Same.
you be the judge.
All right. All right. Okay. So let's get to the ending of the movie, which I mean, I'm not the smartest guy, but I think that last scene, unless he fucking came in his pants, he died, right? He died.
Or he had superpowers and he fucking lifted off the ground.
Yeah, and he
Yeah,
became skinny again back in the beach.
motherfucker died.
He dies there, and he's like, it's weird, right? Because you almost feel good, like it's almost like he got to the place where he needed to get, but then he dies, right? But he dies right with her telling the story, so he feels like, yes, yes, fucking, I did it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's very symbolic in the movie, but I think it just goes back to the fact that because I'm not so attached to the story, that ending just doesn't kill it for me, and I don't feel like I'm like a broken record where I'm just like trashing the movie. But no, I think it was a worthwhile movie. I saw it in the theaters. Um, it's weird when you're eating popcorn in the theater and then he starts doing like the whole scenes with the food and you're like,
I had to stop. I had nachos and popcorn, and my dad was like, all right, so after the movie we're gonna go get something to eat. I'm like, there's no way we're gonna eat after this. Like thinking to myself because I know I don't know what it's about, but I know that they're gonna show like a whole bunch of him doing nasty, disgusting shit.
yeah.
I'm like, there's no way we're gonna eat after this movie, but all right, we'll see what happens. And for sure, he's like, never buy pizza again. Never bring me pizza. I never want to see pizza ever again.
Did you that? Did you that? Like appreciate the story at all, or was he like just freaked out?
Definitely freaked out. Definitely, he said that it's not his type of movie.
Okay.
He wouldn't normally watch it. But he appreciates watching it.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, coming from like a back in the day Hispanic Latino. I don't even know what's like the proper noun for this shit. Like like from South America, right?
I asked him for a rating. He couldn't give me one because he said this is not a movie. This is like a
What the fuck is this? Yeah, like my dad. My dad would be like insulting me. He's like, "What the fuck
like,
is wrong with you?
¿Cómo se te ocurre llevarme a ver esta
Sí,
película?
sí. Yeah. No, but I mean, at least if it's just to show the moments that people that struggle with food and weight go through, if it's just for that, at least the movie is worth it to me.
And even the other aspects, like the struggle with the self acceptance, like accepting that they're beautiful the way you are or whatever. Also, like we also kind of glance over and we hear the story of Adam, which is his boyfriend, and what he went through, which was the opposite. Like he ate to feel better, and he stopped eating to try to go back to be in the good graces of his father or of the Lord,
Right.
and which drove him to the point where it seemed like he committed suicide.
Yeah, and it's a shame because they loved each other and they were perfect for each other, and then but that guy still has some issues with the religion, right? Which is kind of like a cult. Again, this is like a were the series because there was just so much content that you couldn't really like fit it all in. We haven't even talked about the other character, which I love as an actress, the Asian lady.
I really liked her role, and she really played a good enabler.
Yep.
Because I'm like, dude, like how do you keep, like, you just saw him choke on himself. This thing fell to the ground.
Yeah, but you know
picked
what?
it up and you gave it to him.
But you know what? Like that's the type of like that's the reality of it.
Right.
Like people think when you look at a drug addict and like the mom is buying him drugs, or like in this case,
Or
this
giving him the
lady,
needles.
yeah, or this lady giving him the food. Like there comes a time in people's like, well, there doesn't come a time. It's always like this. Like people don't change, right? Like people don't change people. I don't know if they said it on this movie or somewhere else, but it's like people don't change other people. You could, I believe you could do as much as trigger the thing that goes off in the person's head to change, but it has to come within each person, right?
What she said was that people can't be saved.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. It's very pessimistic, but I liked it. That she was like,
Because he's making the choice. Like he's choosing that life. There's nothing that she can do to make him choose otherwise.
right, and she's like, look, at this stage of the game, if I'm gonna like continue to like be with this person, like and chill with them and be part of his life and help him, like I can't do this struggle every day. Like you could almost feel in her that she already did years of trying to help him.
She was defeated. Like she was done.
Yeah. Yeah, she was defeated. She's like, look, I'll bring you your 2 Parmesan subs.
Fuck, bro. And when he goes on that rampage, oh my goodness gracious!
Oh, the rampage, bro!
Like the food rampage where he just like starts devouring everything in his kitchen. Oh fuck! I had never seen like 2 pieces of bread packed with chips, closed, and then dipping it in fucking grape jelly. Oh,
Yeah. It was if you are in this, you know what this movie is good for as well. If you're in the verge of fucking up your diet, right? You've been eating healthy for 6 days. You've been eating healthy for 6 days. You're about to do a week, which is like a week is a a milestone.
A milestone, right?
And on that 7th day, you're like, I wanna grab a pepperoni pizza and fuck it, and then like roll it up into like a tube, put one hand in and then the other in my mouth, and connect the filth. Right, you put this movie on the well.
Please watch this.
You put it on, and you won't eat for the rest of the day.
I think I'm done eating for the week.
Okay. All right, let's give it a rating. Give it a rating. So the whale, all things considered, and this is and Brendan Fraser is somebody that like I appreciate. It seems like there's a lot of love for this guy. It seems like I don't know what's the story, why he was away from Hollywood for so long, but he seems like a good guy. And he was like he was in our childhood a lot, right? Like Tarzan, the Mummy movies. Bedazzled was an amazing film. I mean, it was a really fun film.
My favorite one of his would always be the one that the back in time, the
Encino Man.
No, the one where
Bedazzled.
No, where he gets trapped underneath the in a bomb shelter for like 50 years, and then he comes back to like nothing happened. But they thought that something happened, and it was with Christopher Walken.
Fuck! Is this like a serious movie?
No, this is funny. It was funny.
Oh.
And then he comes back to like the elevator comes back up, and it's hilarious.
Is this the Biodome?
No, it wasn't Biodome either.
Sorry guys, for the people listening.
So yeah, sorry about that.
Journey to the Center of the Earth. No,
nope.
Let me go back more.
Yeah, it's old for sure.
It's like the from the first ones.
Yeah.
Fuck, I can't. Whatever. Okay. Well, So Brendan Fraser, great guy. You kind of root for him. I thought it was a good movie, but I gotta put everything in it. And when we review this shit, like sometimes you gotta put in, okay, what if you watch this with your family or with friends? They're gonna think you have problems. So I'm gonna go with a 6, and this is a solid 6, like a 6 that's worth a lot. Like a Broski Doodle 6, taking into account the fact that the story didn't hit us hard, but the fact that they depicted so well what it is to go through the struggle of wanting to eat but knowing you can, and then remembering that it's gonna fuck up your health, but you still do it, and then somehow you justify it in your head. Like that whole part is just worth it to me. But yeah, I give it a solid 6, A24. Keeping it real.
I would have to give it when I saw it and everything that came with it. It's a whole package. You have to take it from beginning to end. The release doesn't really come until the end for everything that's going on, and it's definitely a sweet release when he's going through that whole struggle of getting up and actually standing and walking, and like I shed a tear. I don't know about you. It was very emotional. It has impacted me to do better, to make the proper choices, and to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Not everything is bad. No matter what he went through, he always saw the positive. He never saw the negative. It's something that I can appreciate from him. So for that, I'll give this movie a 7.
Okay. Given that today we have the two members of the Broski Doodles, when you do the simple math, I mean, here when we talk about math, it's not like algebra or like quantum physics or like even calculus type shit. I mean, I passed calculus with a D.
Uh-huh.
And yeah. And I was about to fail, but the teacher, she gave me the D. So
oh shit!
So I
gave you
passed.
the D.
So if you do simple math, you add 6 and a 7, and you divide that by 2, you get a 13.5.
Oof.
No, what the fuck? No, you get a.
Wait, what? Oh my goodness!
No. You get 13. You get a 6.5. You get a 6.5 on the Broski Doodle Richter scale.
Now I know why you got the D.
And that's verified.
Verified.
Well, I'll leave it at that. I really like that message. This guy, like what you said, seeing the positive, even when shit is fucked. And this guy was kind of like unknowingly positive. But sometimes you need a little bit of that. You need someone that even in the darkest times, when there's nothing positive to look at, he could still look like and say something nice about somebody and give him the benefit of the doubt. So I think that's a nice little gem at the end.
And just for reference, the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes gives us a 66%.
Okay.
From the critics and a 91% from the audience.
I do think the critics' review was a little more relevant this time, even though normally it's the other way around, where the critics' review is completely
off base.
Yeah, off base, and the audience. I think the audience gave it a 91 because of Brendan Fraser, a little bit more.
Probably. The feels, and the movie that I was thinking about, Blast from the Past.
Blast from the Past. I'm gonna see it actually. I haven't seen that one. Blast from the Past. That's not like. I was gonna say some like fucked up shit. Okay, so Brendan Fraser. Let us know if you guys like this. I mean, I think even just for his acting, he could get like a nomination for something, and I would agree with it. Even if the movie, I don't think deserves like an Oscar or a Golden Globe. I do think Brendan Fraser's acting alone does it.
I think he got nominated and won a Critics' Choice Award for Best Actor.
Okay, I do hope he continues to like act now, and we start seeing a little more of now another like era of him, another version of him now older. It's kind of fun seeing actors like you grow up with them. And so yeah, I hope that we see Brendan Fraser and other things. For the people at home, for the people running, for the people at work listening to us, please leave the comments, like it, subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave comments about this movie and other movies that you want us to review. We're always looking for good classics and things that can really bring a nice little analysis and synopsis from us. Thank you for joining us in this cinematic adventure. And DJ BJ, thank you as always, Papa.
KIKO, you already know.
Peace.